Hello, world. My name is Scott, or as I affectionately call myself, the bitter old queen. Okay, I am not a therapist or a professional. My stories and experiences are anecdotal only. Okay, so this episode is devoted to our cats. We've had five of them over the last 42 years, um, but especially this episode is about our beloved Leo, who just died on August 15th. That would be 4 weeks ago tomorrow. So, and this is to celebrate him because I've put together some clips that will air right after I stop speaking. Okay, and so please stay around and check it out. So, of all of our cats, when I met Dennis in 1982, he had a cat named Mo, a black and white tuxedo cat, and it was kind of like love me, love my cat. So I was not a cat person. My mother was afraid of cats. She had this thing called alurophobia, and she would scream like if I saw a snake or something, I would scream. Okay, she was afraid of cats as I am, or most people I would be afraid of snakes or something. So kind of irrational. She did end up getting over it, but anyway, so when we got another cat then named Sunny. Dennis's father picked him up off the road in Massachusetts. He saw someone throw this poor cat out back in the back roads by the cranberry bogs, and he scooped up the cat and brought him home, and he ended up here in New York. So, but Mo ended up diabetic then for the last 3 years of his life. He died at about 16-ish, something like that. Then we only had Sonny for a little while, and then Mo adopted another black and white cat, and we named him Stretch. So, and he was a cute guy too. But then Sonny died at about 16 and a half, and Stretch died unexpectedly at only 12 and a half. We had gone on vacation, and we got the call from Animal Medical Center from the person who was here watching him, and he was full of cancer, and there was nothing that could be done. So it was weird. We went on vacation and we came back without a cat, and then we went without a cat for like a year or maybe a little bit more. And then Dennis finally said, I really want to get some cats, and I want you to get one and me to get one, and we'll have two cats again. And I wasn't crazy about it, but I said okay. So and so he had chosen a black and white cat already named Leo, and then I went and I chose an all black cat named Tweak, or I named him Tweak. So uh, Tweak, I named him Tweak because I said, well, he was a very weird cat, but I said he just needs a little tweaking, and that it stuck. So, but I taught Leo, and I taught all of our black and white cats, Leo, Mo, and Stretch, how to kiss, how to bump heads right away. As soon as they came to live with us or whatever, and I taught Mo that from right away. Anyway, so but Tweak then died the day before the insurrection, so it's always easy to remember that. So, but I was completely brokenhearted, and Leo at the time was almost 16. He was pushing 16. So, and but Leo picked up the slack when my tweak died. He was right there with me, and he was so sweet. And then I had a hip operation a couple years ago, and he was so nice during that. It was so nice to have him by my side, and the first slide you'll see in this little video presentation here, it's Leo's name is Spike because he hadn't been adopted yet. That was the vaccination record from the vet, and that was their name. But we renamed him Leo. So, and it says on there that the vet guessed he was 10 months old on February 7th of 2006. So that would make him April, and I think vets are usually pretty good about telling age. They can tell by their teeth and stuff. And I would say he was about right because Leo didn't grow after he came here. He filled out a little, but he was always a little or smaller cat. So, but Leo lived to be the ripe old age. He was 20 years and 4 months, 1 week, and 1 day, if we're going to count it. So, which would be about 97 in human years. So, and we're not getting any more cats, and that's just the way it's going to have to be for now. We've got too many other things going on, and so also cats used to be cheap, and we really can't afford a cat right now. So, but Thank you for helping us celebrate Leo and his life and all the love he gave us for 20 years plus, or well, we had him for 19 and a half years. So imagine what it's like for us. After 19 and a half years, he was our buddy. He was always here. He wanted to go out with us when we took the garbage out in the hallway. When we came home from the store, he always wanted to see what was in our bags. Every time we took a shower, he had to be in there. And so it's been a very quiet, different place around here, but we're getting used to it. So please enjoy the clips of Leo and have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming to court, and you've been dismissed.